Hey everybody, welcome to Love and Relo, the voice of the relocation industry. I'm your host, Ben Cross, and I'm here with my very good friend, Tim Quirk, president of Rhode Sense Logistics out here in Rochester, New York. Hashtag WNY. What up, Timmy? How you doing, man?
Great, Ben. How are you?
I'm good. This is fun. This is day 2 of our in-person situation here. Stacy, you got to let us know if the internet cuts out or whatever. We have no point of reference here. Let us know what's up. If you're watching right now, I want to know where you are, what you're up to. Shout out your company. Get in the comments. We're going to be talking about entrepreneurship. Tim has started a business in the middle of COVID, and he's doing really well. I've also started a business in the middle of COVID and doing well as well. And so we want to talk a little bit about what does it take to do that. And if you're thinking about doing that, maybe you've been displaced in your job. Maybe you're thinking, you know what, I need to try something new. They're talking about this is the great resign right now. 40% of people who have a job today are thinking about having a different job. So it just seemed like kind of a timely thing. And frankly, gave me an excuse to come drink some beer and eat some chicken wings out here in Western New York. So Tim, where are we today right now?
We are at the Distillery Restaurant on Mount Hope Avenue in Rochester, New York, right across the street from the Mount Hope Cemetery.
We can look out the window and see a cemetery right now, which is always fun table talk.
But
who's buried out there at Mount Hope?
We got Susan B. Anthony, Frederick Douglass.
Both
Bausch and Lomb from Bausch and Lomb.
Yeah, is the B silent? Is it Bausch and Lomb?
Bausch and Lomb.
Well. If you know the answer to that, throw it in the comments. Let's see here. We got people coming in right now. Let's see who is here. Look at Richard Corona from Nova checking in.
Oh, man. Mr. Retired almost over
is
there.
Is he? Richard, you donezo? What's going on, Richard? Every time I send an email to you, Diana answers. What's going on? Jana. I forget how to say Jana's name. Jana. Epic show to come. Glad to see you two together. I'm sorry. You know, we haven't even started the beer. We do have some beer here, by the way. We are going to give you our take on the best Genesee. So who here knows, who's watching this right now and knows about Jenny? Jenny, I'm not a smart man,
but I know what love is.
It's a bucket of tall boys is what it is. So shout out if you know what some Jenny's about. If you have a favorite Genesee beer, let me know. We're going to be tasting all of them today. Alan King checking in from Germany. What's up, Alan? Is that Germans? Stephen Meyer, Hampton Roads Moving. What up, Stephen Meyer? Hope you're safe out there. You still on the road, Stephen? Let me know. Stacy Huff, super producer Stacy. Hi, Ben and Tim, two of my favorite people. She's just saying that. She's got to work with us.
Hey, Ben.
Wish I was there. What up?
She wishes she was here. What do you say?
Stacy. Did we get a Stacy cameo today?
Just a real quick, Stacy.
Just a
on
peek.
Off, real quick.
Just a peek.
No, okay. No.
Oh, she covered the camera. You can't see this. She covered the camera. One day, my bucket list. If I ever get cancer, Stacey's coming on the show. That's all I'm saying. All right, Jamie Masters. Very dark. I know it's a hard way to start. Jamie Master. Hi, Ben and Tim. Cheers from Scorching Hot, Mississippi. Looking forward to the show. Look at that. We got LinkedIn users in the house from Chi-Town. Who's the LinkedIn user? I hate when that happens. Let's see who's LinkedIn user here. Is it? Who is it? We got Brian Smith checking in. This is great. Hit that like button right now. Jack Jampel. Hey, gentlemen loosely. Jack loved it. You know, Jack's gonna be a tough show to top.
I know. I'm very nervous when I saw that on the schedule.
Jack took me out on the boardwalk last night. We played some carnival games. I won him some stuffed animals. We got strawberry ice cream. It was kind of romantic. I'll be honest with you.
Sounds romantic.
It was the kind of dinner that afterwards you're like, am I supposed to do something? And
I think if Jack expected something, he would have told you. Because yesterday at the show, he talked about
a gentleman. Jack is a gentleman. Very, very.
He talked about communication and needing to be
happen. This is great.
Nothing but business, George.
Just strictly business. Jamie Master, born in Binghamton. Heck yeah, I know Jenny and Genesee Cream Ale. So with that, should we start with which is your favorite? Your favorite Jenny? And by the way, shout out to Jenny who sponsored this episode. Which is your favorite Jenny?
Me?
Yeah, you.
Okay, good. I was making sure. I would go with, if I'm just for a special treat, my favorite would be the cream ale.
All right, let's start with the cream ale. So we're going to do, in between this talk about entrepreneurship, household goods, opportunities with innovation and household goods, we're also going to give you a quick rundown of Jenny Cream Ale and what we think about it. Because you know what? We're friends. We're hanging out in a sports bar. And people are loving the date concept. I'm just kidding. Obviously, I'm just kidding. Jack was a perfect gentleman. It was never in question. Robert, I never felt like unsafe. Mena, hey, from Dubai. What's up, Mena? I don't even know if we can make these jokes in Dubai. Ray, hello from Tippett Richardson, Ottawa. This is great. All right, let's crack this Jenny, and then we're getting into a little entrepreneurship. By the way, if you have any questions about Jenny, the beer, not the character from Forrest Gump, or if you have any questions about entrepreneurship, throw it in the comments. If you're thinking about starting a business or you have started a business or whatever, let us know. We're going to be open kimono today.
Just like mother's milk.
Do you want to go first or should I?
You go ahead, because like I said, this is like mother's milk to me.
I'll be honest with you. It's fucking awful. I'm sorry. This is the best of the three.
No, for me.
I feel like everybody likes the cream. This tastes like what I used to drink when I was in high school. And you go down to the corner of the bodega and you pay some, homeless person, and you'd be like, one for you, one for me kind of thing. That's what this tastes like to me.
Some nicknames of those of you who grew up with Jenny Cream Ale. This is called sometimes Jenny Screamers or Green Death. So there you go.
This is what we're rocking with right now. This is great. This is why people think entrepreneurs are broke, because they drink cream ale.
Right.
Liz Martin checking in from Chi-Town. Beach. Janet. Oh, look at this. Janet. Okay, perfect. Janet's going right into the questions about entrepreneurship. Janet. We're going to answer that question too. Brazil, Mickey's Big Mouth. Yeah, it's kind of like Mickey's. Mickey's is the Mickey's malt liquor with the B on it.
Yeah.
Alan says this is awesome. Thank you, Alan. I appreciate it.
Before.
So yeah, we're gonna talk about entrepreneurship first before we get into Janet's question here. And Janet's a great question, and I'm gonna talk about that. I want to ask you, Tim. First, tell us all what Rhode Sense is. By the way, just start there.
So, Rhode Sense is a full-service freight brokerage, and we have the ability to move shipments on land anywhere in North America.
A trucking firm.
Trucking, but we also can do rail, but the majority of our business is moving household goods, crated and loose, for DoD approved transportation service providers.
And we say DoD, military household goods.
Household goods shipments is the majority of what
Why
we do.
is that the specialty and not corporate or consumer shipments or whatever?
Quite honestly, because that is where me and my team this great team that decided they were going to put their faith in me and walk this journey with me. That's where all of our experience, or the majority of our experience in the last 2 decades was. So it was a great diving board or jumping point.
Yeah. Okay. So that's actually a good point, because, and I told you we're going to be open kimono here, right? I mean, and we're drinking beers. And the internet connection is not great, so I'm sorry. We're in a sports bar right now. Should we get the Wi-Fi going? The Wi-Fi going? All right. So one thing I'm going to say is I've known Tim for a long time. We worked together at Forward Relocation, which was an intrapreneurship, a company within a company for 1-800-PACK-RAT. That was all about basically giving them a growth engine and coming up with new lines of business and doing things outside of the container model. We acquired some companies. We acquired ACE, which was an ARPAN agent of Northern Virginia. My company acquired Tim's company, Hidden Valley Mayflower, out of San Diego, and we bought their Central Texas location. And with that, Tim came on board. We kind of went into the military. We got several SCAT codes, and we grew that forward relocation business to when I left, it was about $14 million, which was really incredible. And we did that in a few years' time. Tim was really instrumental in the growth, especially on the military side. And look at this. We got people shouting out over here. But Tim, when you left Forward, Tim says, Kevin says, I know TQ since first grade, one of the best, if not the best. Tim Quirk, great to be on today. The Distillery, Jenny Light. My dad kept him in business, 80s. Kevin, come on down, man. I don't know if you're like.
I think he's on Long Island now.
You on Long Island? Long Island? Long Island. Okay, well, that's fine. Anyway, but when you left there, before you got into this successful venture, and we're going to talk about this in depth, what were some of the stops real quick and maybe some of the failures along the way? I don't know if you want to talk about it.
Well, I mean, when I left Hidden Valley and all that was an interesting departure with all that went on there. And for those who don't know, they basically went bankrupt. And then Ford relocation. And then I went to a big United agent in Salt Lake City. And then to Atlas International, the van line, all.
Wi-Fi, so I'm sorry, everybody. I just switched over the Wi-Fi. Thanks for bearing with us there. But yeah, you were saying the one thing you noticed was?
One thing I noticed was that I always felt like I had ideas of how to do things better, and I necessarily wasn't listened to. So when you get,
I always felt that way too. Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's okay.
I think it's a common theme though with entrepreneurs is like you feel like sometimes you feel like you're the smartest guy in the room. Sometimes you feel like you have a lot of answers, a lot of ideas. And somebody in the room is like telling you, well, there's smarter people than us that have already thought of that. And we've already tried that. And, for one reason or another, it won't work. And sorry, but go ahead.
And quite honestly, I looked internally and I said, well, maybe it's not the jobs. Maybe it's not these companies. Maybe it's not the people I'm reporting to. If I have the same problem everywhere I go, maybe it's me. And so
how did you deal? Okay. So then did that lead you on some sort of discovery? I mean, did you unpack that or have to unpack that before you managed to be
I didn't necessarily have to unpack because I had wanted, even from the time when I worked with you at Ford relocation, I'd wanted my own thing. And I was investigating what that possibly could be. And I let fear stop me a number of times.
Well, but you tried a couple things too. I mean, right? You did the custard thing.
Yeah.
You went and bought a custard right after Ford. You went and bought a custard business.
Yeah.
And I mean, what happened with that? I mean, I think it's just part of the journey, right?
Yeah, it's part of the journey. It was a franchise, got really deep involved in it, and then just realized that it wasn't what I was looking for. Ended up selling the franchise back to the franchisor.
Yeah.
And and moved on. And I think it's not until you have your first success or your first substantial success, because I had little successes along the way for sure. But it's not until you have your first success, and everybody says this, and when you're trying and failing, you don't believe them. But it's not until you have your first success when you realize that each failure just helps you to what eventually you're going to be, what your success is going to be. Not to say that where I'm at now is going to be the success for the rest of my life, and there's not going to be hard times and that kind of thing. But it certainly is. It's so easy to say when things are good that failures help, but when you're in the middle of failing, it's the worst feeling in the world.
So it's so funny because I was having this conversation with Jack last night after the show, and we were talking about failures and do failures help? Are failures a good thing because they teach you so much, and then you can capitalize them and become successful later? And his argument was, no, failure sucks always. It's what you do and how you respond to failure that is a good thing. And it might be parsing and splitting hairs, but it's interesting. When you said that, though, and when I compare the custard idea with crate and freight and alternative transportation solutions for military household goods, you didn't know shit about custard other than, hey, custard tastes great. And you know everything about military household goods. So, like, you're wildly successful at this thing over here. I say, well, I mean, yeah, you are. And then this custard thing was like, so for me, this makes sense that you're being successful right now. So it's like, and here's where I'm going with this, because I went through the same thing too. I'm like, I need to get out of this job. I don't want to be here anymore. I will go do literally anything else right now. I will go run a Great Clips franchise. I will go make sandwiches at Subway. I will buy a moving company. I looked at buying a moving company. I looked at buying a 3PL final mile freight company. I looked at buying an over-the-road trucking company. I looked at buying, anything. And what I realized when I went through this journey was, in order to buy a company, for those of you who don't know and haven't bought a company before, in order to buy a company, you obviously put down a significant amount of cash, anywhere from 5 to 25%, depending on the loan situation, which was very hard during COVID, by the way. And more than 50% of what you're buying is not assets, it's goodwill. And what does goodwill mean? It basically means that when you buy this business, it has a reputation in the community, the phone rings, you have existing clientele, people that come to it. You're paying for goodwill. And when I looked at it and said, if I'm going to pay $500,000 for a little tiny local moving company and half of it's goodwill, I'm thinking goodwill is what I'm bringing to the table. I know people, I have book of business, I have relationships. Why would I buy goodwill from someone else? It would have been very much the same way had you bought a freight brokerage, because you have a book of business, you have clients, you have people that know you, So I just thought it was so interesting when you look at how the customer business went versus how the freight business is going. The freight business is like taking off, and whatever. So did you expect the gift? I'm like kind of in your business here a little bit, but I just want to illustrate a little bit. And please keep commenting. A lot of people are checking in right now. Keep hitting that thumbs up button. Ask questions if you have them. There's a lot of people I want to acknowledge here. Robert, Mena, Ray, Elizabeth, Jill Rush. What's up, Jill? She's going to be on the show soon. Bunch of people, Richard Cronin saying he's enjoying life. This is great. Keep those comments coming. If you have questions, let me know. Mike Falia. Can you give us an idea of how much business you're doing?
When
you started and then how you're doing now.
Yeah, so we moved our first load February 15th of this year.
First shipment, February 15th, which is 5.5 months ago.
5.5 months ago. And we are, and I had part of, so I got some money, some working capital, so cash from my bank. And so I had to do a 3-year projection. And with the projection I did increments of 3% a year for 3 years of growth.
3% growth is what you projected.
Yeah, just because I didn't want to.
3% growth is a very mature business kind of growth pattern, to be honest with you. Mm-hmm. It seems conservative. And so how did that okay.
And so what we've done since February 15th in top line revenue is 3 times what my year 3 was going to be.
Okay. You want? You don't want to say numbers because you're like whatever. Okay. So it's 3 times what you thought year 3 was going to be.
Yeah.
So you're doing 9 times more, or probably 9 times more than you thought you were going to do year 1. So,
and again, that's because of the customers that we have and the team that chose to take this journey with me. We're a team of 7 now. Total 4 of those people are.
Look at Stacy clapping. I'll give you a round of applause too, Timmy, for sure, man. Were you scared going into it?
No, every day.
Like sweat
every day. I would go to bed.
What was the scariest part for you?
Money.
Like, what do you mean, like money?
Not knowing that. Okay, tomorrow I have to either pay commissions to my people, or I have to pay carriers who carried the loads for us. And some of them want to be paid right away because we're a brand new company. We have no credit. They don't know me from anybody else. So you know what? I'm going to keep my door locked until you pay me. So I had to do some of that. Some of us, some companies let us go net 30 right away. So I would go to bed every night and I would see what was in our bank account, and I would know or think I know what I was going to need to pay the next day. And I would go to bed thinking, I don't know how I'm going to do this. I don't know. So then I would just lay in bed and wake up, have a Jenny Cream ale, and then I'd wake up, and because of the good customers we have, because of businesses that truly are partners with us, every time I went to bed worried I don't have money to pay the bills, I'd wake up the next morning, there'd be a direct deposit from one of our customers from shipments that we had moved from them. And then I'd have, I had to be real judicious with the money. I can tell you the team worked for 8 weeks. Everyone on the team worked for 8 weeks without getting a penny.
Why was that? Why did that have to happen?
So we could have cash flow.
So you had to kind of stack up that bank roll in order to then flow. Yeah. Because, and for people out there that don't realize this, that maybe work for a company or something like that, you do the work today, you pay the people every 2 weeks and the carriers every week. You don't get paid.
I pay my contractors weekly.
Your contractors, your employees or whatever contractors.
I pay them weekly.
Weekly. So you're paying your people weekly. You're paying your truckers weekly. How long does it take to get paid from your clients?
Our biggest clients usually pay us within 14 days, and that's what saved us.
That's beautiful.
That's what saved us.
That's really nice payment terms.
14 to 21 days. Now I'm net 30, so they could have very easily paid me a net 30 and done nothing wrong. But like I said, because they truly saw it as a partnership, some people say, well, it's all because of you, Tim, because of the relationship we had with them. I just think that they're that kind of people. They run businesses in the way you would hope everyone would run a business. And our biggest customers, our 3 biggest customers, pay us so regularly. Thank you guys. You know who you are. That's really helped us.
Yeah.
And now we're coming to the end of peak season, end of summer. I'll be going out to see all those people to be able to thank them and shake their hand. And people I know very well, I'll be hugging you. So just be ready.
Stacy, you're backstage. Would you put some questions up too? If people have questions, if you see some key comments that you want me to read or whatever, put those up. Tim, I started my business about the same time as you. I went full time. I started my business in June of last year.
Okay.
I quit my job December 17th. Still remember the day,
So you were basically doing it part-time then?
I was doing it part-time, which I think is super, super key. Biggest piece of advice. Well, one of the biggest pieces of advice I would give you is do it part-time, because you either have to work for a while without taking a check, right, to stack the bank, or you moonlight, it used to be called, and you work on the side. You'd side hustle, stack those chips in the bank account, so that when you hit the gate, you have money to spend, because you're gonna have those startup costs. I mean, for me, it was I dropped $5,000 on Glomo.com to buy that website because I just wanted it so bad.
I remember that.
I spent like $2,500 at the USPTO, U.S. Patent Trademark Office, on the name, right? I bought a whole bunch of gear. You see gear. I mean, you can't see gear, but there's gear here, right? Flights, etc., things like that. Incorporation, which actually only takes like $150 to do. So just a bunch of just random stuff. But I had the money in the bank. And it was like, it wasn't a second thought. It wasn't like, oh, this is my rent money, this is my mortgage, this is whatever. It was just, cut the check, no problem. So let me ask you now, we got questions. Oh, Mary Kate Storm. Awesome. Where do I get Tim's info? Where does she get your info?
I'm on LinkedIn.
She's either a customer or a creditor. So
right.
Where does she get your info?
So Rhode Sense is on LinkedIn, 2 words, RHODESENSE, or I'm on LinkedIn, Mary Kate, and I think we may even be connected on LinkedIn.
DMs are open. Should we? But I think also she's probably giving you a softball so you can like plug how people can get a hold of you. So.
Oh, well, that's very nice of her, wasn't it?
Right? Wasn't Mary Kate. She's smart. But Tim Quirk on LinkedIn. There's not many people that look like this. He's easy. Janet says, how stressful is truck brokerage?
You know what, Janet? I have the least stressful part of the truck brokerage.
You sure do. Yours is the easiest part.
Mine's the easy part. The brokers is tough, especially now because drivers realize, that there's less trucks than freight to be moved, and so they want a top dollar. And Janet, the company you work for, we, Mark Colmer, who handles your account. He's worked with Deanne for a long time, and as you know, and as Oded, the owner of Deanne Van Lines, knows, what we paid a year ago for lanes between your offices has doubled and tripled in some cases. So that's the hardest part for the people that are actually taking the loads, posting them, talking to the drivers, convincing the drivers to take the load. So it's nonstop for those people. They're up. I think between May 15th and July 4th, they were, 14, 15-hour days for sure.
Yeah, keep these questions coming in. I love your questions. I got my own questions, but we're going to prioritize your questions as well. Janet's got a bunch, because Janet actually was an entrepreneur, had her own company for, Janet, I'm probably going to be wrong, I'm going to say 15 years, maybe more. Wise Enterprises. Janet says, have you experienced people going out of business and owing you funds?
You would think in 6 months, no, but yes, the answer is yes.
Companies have gone out of business in the last 6 months.
Yep. We've had one. And
what do you do? Is that a complete write-off? Do you get to go Is there? Can you file a claim in like when it goes into receivership or some sort of bankruptcy court? Do you get any of that?
So, I mean, a couple of things it did. One, we're an IAM member, so IAM has the Receivable Protection Program. So we filed a claim there because this company is a member of IAM. And then we've had people involved.
Real quick, I just want to explain that because people at IAM, I mean, this is actually pretty amazing. IAM is the only association I know that does this. If you're an IAM member and somebody else is an IAM member and they owe you money and it's verifiable and they choose not to pay you, IAM has a fund that they pay you and then they go handle it with the member, which is amazing because when you're doing business with people that you've never met, like if I send a shipment to Botswana and I need to know that it gets handled proper or vice versa, but I've never been to Botswana, I've never met these people, whatever, knowing that they're an IAM member, I know that shipment is good and the credit basically is good. So it's kind of an amazing thing. If you're thinking about IAM membership, whether you're a service provider such as Tim with Freight Brokerage or you're a moving company or whatever, highly recommend IAM RPP. Sorry.
And actually this person that this company's gone out of business. I've known the person for quite a long time who owns the company. They have actually allowed us to go directly to their customers and see if their customers could pay us directly as opposed to paying them and then have them pay us.
Cool.
And then, you know, and the rest is write-off and bad debt and all that kind of thing.
Cool. Jeff Horn says, biggest worry is money. That is the truth. Yeah. I mean, you know what's interesting for me is Elena, what's up? What an amazing start journey. Tim Quirk, congratulations. Think about how successful you guys are now. And this isn't really about bragging. This is kind of to give people hope and to give people inspiration who are thinking about doing it, because Tim's really successful. I've had some really great traction as well. Thank you so much to all my clients if you're watching right now. Knowing what you know today, would you have been so scared to start? Like, would you have like done it earlier? Like, how would you have done things differently?
I would have probably done it earlier.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
But you know, a lot of things lined up great for me and my team's success. A major competitor in the space of mine kind of faltered. So they ran into some problems. So they weren't able to provide the service. COVID happened. So what people pay for trucking went through the roof.
Listen, y'all, really, COVID sucked. But COVID was so good for so many businesses. Like if you start a business in COVID and you can make it in COVID, you're going to make it not in COVID. I mean, like moving companies charge more. Everybody's charging more. I mean, the margins are higher. I mean, because there's scarcity. Your competitors are going out of business, so you have more market share. I mean, there's really good people out there. They're out of work right now that you can go just grab. I mean, COVID sucked like 100%. Like it is, and I'm not trying to not be empathetic, and I'm not trying to not. My heart goes out to people. I mean, I've lost loved ones. I mean, but strictly from an entrepreneurship and a business angle, COVID also created a lot of opportunities. Anytime there is change and churn in the marketplace for whatever reason, COVID, depression, depression, recession, whatever, major competitors coming in or out or whatever. Anytime there's change like that, it's usually good for the new player, the entrepreneur. That's usually opportunity. It's usually bad for incumbents, people with big payrolls, people with big market shares. I mean, there's a saying when you're, here, all you can do is go down. Well, when you're here, all you can do is go up, right? Or out of business.
The fall isn't as far.
Yeah, for sure. Sorry.
And then also,
what's up, Biba?
Also, we deal with alternative transportation. So household goods, alternative transportation. Again, a lot of that goes in lift vans. Well, lift vans were hard to find. Wood was an issue. You talked about this.
Oh my gosh, wood. You guys, I didn't even think about how much you benefited from the cost of wood going up. Yeah. So lift vans, the big wooden cartons, big wooden containers, they ship all the international household goods that are small shipments that aren't in those big metal boxes in these wooden containers, and they also ship domestic U.S. small shipments also that way. They were making completely entirely out of wood. The cost of those containers went from, free or a couple $100 to $500, $600, $700 overnight pricing out using that mode of transportation. And what mode do you offer now?
So we use a loose loaded service. So
what does that mean to the lay people out there?
So basically, it's the way it's moved in a traditional household goods van, except it's moving in a freight van, or we've been doing a lot of what this has replaced the lift van is 26-foot straight trucks. Okay.
So you're doing those loose load 26-foot straights?
Yes.
Wow. Are those like hot shots or what? Yeah.
No, I mean, they're just, the same way.
So you're finding freight carriers at 26, you're finding drivers with 26-foot straights on our. Wow. So this is really incredible because essentially you're loading it directly into a tractor trailer or a straight truck, a 26-foot truck. For those of you who don't know, that's probably like the largest size U-Haul to give you an idea of the size. And there's people out there, there's drivers out there that haul freight in these trucks. Well, this equipment can also be utilized by household goods, by the household goods industry, and it doesn't require the wood that the previous small shipment providers, required. And I imagine you're really cost competitive.
Yeah, when it fits, that 10,000 pounds and under. I mean,
for the straight truck.
But
what about for the tractor trailer? What size shipment?
Oh, I mean, as big as
what does it hold? 25,000 pounds,
25 to 30, depending on who loads it, right?
So really any shipment size is eligible or a good fit for alternative transportation.
Yes.
Okay, so this is amazing. If you have comments right now, Stacy, can you run some comments real quick? And if you have any, look at Sarah, entrepreneur checking in, loving the discussion on the cozy bar setting. I totally relate to the excitement and stress of starting a small business during the pandemic. Sarah, shout out your small business. Throw a comment in there. Throw a link in there. If you have a small business or whatever, or you got a side hustle, throw a link in there. Promote yourself. It's okay. It's not bragging. It's just, and let's support each other too. I mean, look how much stuff we buy from Amazon. We never met Jeff Bezos. Support people. Shout out to Sandy McKinney checking in. We're going to see Sandy on Thursday. Chris Lance, Tim, will you be handing out hugs at IM?
You'll be the first one, Chris.
Chris looks like a good hug.
Yeah.
It's kind of beefy. Looks like a good hug.
Had I known he was a hugger, I would have approached him earlier.
Doesn't look like a hugger.
Doesn't look like a hugger.
I hear that. Many great companies have started as a side hustle for sure. Yeah, I think that's Brian Smith. Shout out to Brian. Janet was at Wise Enterprises 23 years. Awesome. That's really awesome. Aaron, Stacy, you're both amazing. So happy for your success. Thank you, Stacy.
Stacy, come on.
Much love,
on the
Stace.
screen.
Much
okay,
love,
that's just
Stace.
kidding.
Much love. If we have any other, she flagged it out again. If you have any other questions, Tim, we also need to take just a moment here. We need a beer break here.
Okay.
These cream ales, are delicious, but I think it's time that we go to the next one. Should we go with the Genesee Regs or the Genesee Light? Genesee Heavy or Genesee Light? What should we go with, Tim?
We probably should go with the Red Eyes.
The Red Eyes. Okie dokie. Starbucks, you're not the only one with a red eye. All right, Genesee.
1878.
This tastes like they haven't changed the recipe.
I have not changed the
in
recipe.
140 years.
1878. Ready?
All right. Salud.
Quite a bit different.
I got to be honest with you. This is much better. Now those cream ales burn my taste buds to smithereens, but what I can tell, this is actually much better. Max Lowy, are these official beer sponsors? Yes. Shout out to hashtag Genesee for sponsoring the show. Big time sponsor, hashtag sponsored. Genesee actually paid us $20,000 for the show. If you're watching, Genesee, we appreciate you
Genesee.
very much.
We appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Robert Brazuela, COVID was terrible for business, but the post-COVID demand is amazing. Hopefully companies prepared and kept staff systems humming in anticipation for the summer. Robert, you bring up a great point. It really was terrible for some businesses and great for others. There are businesses like restaurants. Oh my God, restaurants, right? Food service, things like that. Meanwhile, people that made, non-perishable for Kraft Heinz or these companies that were in the food and grocery store business, did really well. So yeah. And Robert, I didn't mean to be coarse about it, but some businesses did great and some sucked, obviously. Kevin's loving it. Jamie, love the regular Genesee. Jamie, what's your favorite? Love it. Darren Burley checking in from Seattle. What's up, y'all? Keep the questions coming if you have questions. Love to hear them. Oh, this is wonderful. Tim, this is so much fun, man. I'm so happy. I'm so happy for you, man.
I'm happy for you.
Cheers, buddy. Really.
I think one thing, and maybe we've talked about, I don't know if we've ever talked about this on the show before, but one thing we've talked about is, and I find that now that I'm in this business and we've started it and it's doing well. And one of the things that was really important for me was to make sure that anybody who was willing to risk their livelihood and take this journey with me, I decided I was going to listen to them, whether they had something I wanted to hear or not. And I think you helped me years ago become open at listening to criticism, because I always grew up that criticism, there was no such thing as constructive criticism. Criticism was just pointing out your weaknesses, and it was somebody trying to basically rain on your parade. And you helped me when we worked together learn that. And so there was a time when my wife and my younger brother were the only people that could criticize me that I could take and not be totally bent. Then you came along, and now you were outside the family. So the first person outside the family that I could realize you were truly trying to help me with your criticism.
You know what? First of all, thank you. That means a lot to me, and I know your wife Audrey, and I know your brother as well. And I mean, thank you first. But second, I think the thing, if I may, I think the thing that was different there was like we were really close friends, and I think there was a lot of trust there. I think he knew that I really cared about you, like as a person, and I think that I think in some degrees you got to earn that. You got to really earn that right to people. And if it's coming from a place of love, where the outcome that that this person's desired outcome is to make you to make you a better person, and that they've invested and put the effort and made the deposits in you. I think that's when we got people going by. It's really cool.
That was awesome, though. I loved it.
This is a lie. This is
it looked like some people
sports bar.
So we're very close to the University of Rochester, and a great hospital, Strong Memorial Hospital, is associated with that. I think that was some of our heroes, our first line heroes that were going by. I saw some scrubs. So.
Nice. Aaron saying those are the best kinds of friendships right there. Yeah, for sure. I mean, we went through a lot. Forward relocation was a crazy experience, honestly. That was kind of my first taste of entrepreneurship post college. In college, I had like kind of some side hustles and things going on. But that was my first, because we started a business within a business, and we literally made up all the processes and made everything up as we went. And I tell you what, that was the most jacked up moving company you ever saw in your life. It was the worst moving company ever. Just because we didn't know. I mean, I didn't know what I was doing. He came on. I don't know what his excuse was. Mine was I didn't know what I was doing. But and we were really. It was kind of It was a hustle, and it was a hustle in the fact. And here's the difference between a hustle and a business, in my opinion. A hustle is kind of a money grab. A hustle is like, hey, I see an opportunity. I see an arbitrage. I see a way that I can set up a lemonade stand. I can make $20 and call it a day and whatever. A business is intended to grow over time. And I think truly a business should be built to then exit one day as well.
Yeah.
And that's actually something that I've been thinking about too. Is like
a little early for you to be thinking about that.
Hey, it's never too early to plan for the future. Not that I'm trying to get out of the business, but what I'm saying is my business when I first started it was very much around selling me as a product. But I realized from my experience buying businesses that if the entrepreneur is too big and too much of the product, that you can't sell the business because the entrepreneur is leaving. Right. So if the name of my company was Ben Cross and Sons Moving and Ben Cross and Sons Leaves, it's hard to, I'm trying to think of another business like that where, it's hard to step out and hard to sell. So one of the things I'm thinking about it, and frankly also just as a force multiplier, and we brought on Jana. Shout out to Jana Chesanowski also, who was amazing on Team Glomo.
Or Jana, as we referred to it earlier.
Sometimes when we drink, we forget. And we have another hire coming on soon. That's you're gonna I'm so damn grateful.
Is this going to be a person that most of us know, or some of us?
It's going to be a person that some people that some people know.
Do you know Stacy? You're smiling a lot. Do you know?
Do you know Stace? You don't know.
Okay.
It's not official yet. We haven't announced yet. It's September 1st. Things are gonna happen.
It's my daughter's birthday.
Jimena. I know his kids. You were at my son's first birthday party.
I loved it. Yeah, we had a great
Raleigh,
time.
Yeah, we live in North Carolina.
Yeah, that's where I met your dad.
Yeah. He's another one that'll mispronounce a name so fast. If you criticize, then you care, says Alan. I think so, but you got to earn the right. Alan, I agree. You got to earn the right. Sandy Rhode Sense is headquartered in St. Louis. Welcome to the Lou. Let's see here. Any other questions for Tim? Otherwise, we're just gonna riff here on beer and entrepreneurship. All right, let me ask you, if you were to give people that are watching right now, so there's a lot of people that are watching right now that are like, hey, that sounds awesome, Tim. Great job. Wish I was in that spot. What advice would you give to them?
You do your homework. Really make sure it's something that you want. And I think that was my issue with the custard company. I just wanted to. I thought I wanted to get out. I thought I'd seen enough of the industry. I thought I just want to get out. And then I went from one summer peak season to another summer peak season, and I realized, no, it's got to be something that you really love and that you really want to do. I think if you either love it or really want to do it or both, it'll work. So I don't know how much I love this, but I love being successful at it. It fits for the team we have.
Love aspects of it. I mean, you may not love booking a load. You may not love sending out invoices. I mean, it's kind of tedious, but you love the people. You love giving the hugs. Chris Lance at IM. You love talking to the people, doing what we're doing right now. I mean,
Yeah. But I really want to do it. I really want to do this. And there's a lot of different reasons. There's personal reasons, and selfish reasons. But then there's also reasons, to live up to the people that decide to take the risk with me. Then also to help them. We can help each other together.
Yeah. So one of the biggest things I would say is, and I'll keep going back to the custard thing, do what you know, right? So you're all in this business right now, and you are experts at what you do, whether it's corporate housing, it's transportation, it's moving, it's relocation management, it's whatever you do. You are expert at that thing. When you go out and you try to go get a clothing company or a restaurant or a food truck or, these are the things that I want a food truck. How many times have I said that to myself? I'd love to have a food truck. Well,
because you like to eat.
Because I like to eat.
That's why I wanted custard, because I love custard.
Yeah. It's doesn't mean you need to own a custard company or a food truck, because what's the upside of that? I have a food truck. Maybe I knock down $100K on a food truck, but you're busting your ass on this food truck, working 12-hour days, sweating bullets in the summer, getting run out of parking spaces by the cops. I mean, is that really what I want my day-to-day to look like? So I would say do what you're good at. And the second thing I would say is, talking about day-to-day, and I tell this to people, whether you're thinking about becoming an entrepreneur or you're thinking about just making a career change in general, is don't focus on the title and in the industry. I want to be a restaurateur. I want to be CEO. But I tell kids this all the time. I say, envision yourself in the future, successful and happy. What are you physically doing? What does your day-to-day look like? Envision yourself happy. What are you doing? Is it crushing spreadsheets? Is it chatting with people in Rochester over a beer? Is it cooking French cuisine? What is the rest of that picture look like? Because I think it's very important to describe your physical surroundings and what you're doing from an activity standpoint, and then back into what does that look like? Because so many people think they want a job because of a title or a company or whatever, or I want to own my own business. Do you want to be handling invoices and AR and going to the bank and begging for money and, all the things that go into a business owner? Anyway, I don't know if that makes sense or not. But.
No, that does.
RhOD, and you have to admit the best food comes off food trucks. Some banging food does
some good
come
food
off food trucks.
Yeah.
Mark, great. Very happy for Tim and Ben making the jump and doing their own thing. You both will be successful. There's no doubt. So sorry for the household goods industry as it lost two important professionals. No, we're not going anywhere. We're just in different aspects. I mean, Mark, I still sell household goods. I have a domestic U.S. moving company as a client. I have an international moving company as a client. Tim's still moving household goods. They're just crated. His customers don't complain when things are late. That's the difference. Freight don't cry, right? I mean, isn't that the saying, right? So, I mean, we're still in the biz, Mark, but I'd love to know, from you, Mark, you've been an entrepreneur in this business for a long time. What was it for you? Janet had a question earlier in here. Let's see if we can go back and find it.
Yeah.
Right credit. Yeah, let's talk about credit. It's all about cash flow. Money, he who holds the gold makes the rules. You told me that saying.
That's right. I think I learned. Did I tell you that?
You told me that because you learned it from, was it J.D. Morissette's dad?
That's right.
Bud Senior.
J.D. Morissette's uncle. Ken Senior. Ken
Morissette Senior over at Interstate.
Yeah.
So Janet's question is, were you able to establish credit right away, or did you have funding in place?
Great question, Janet. I was able both, actually. Some people gave us credit right away. Some people, some companies, depending on their structure, they're like, yeah, Tim, I know you. Okay, here's credit. Other companies, just like anybody else, you fill out a credit app, and if, based on what you fill out, you get it. I went to two banks. I got one SBA line of credit, and then I got another just business line of credit from another bank. And then I was, I kind of did the old, competitor A gave me this, and so it was
with the banks or with the
carriers, big common carriers,
Yeah. Oh, common carriers like LTL providers.
Yeah.
So a common carrier is like an ABF or an Estes or
YRC, XBO,
YRC, Yellow, whatever.
And also like other brokerages too, like brokerages that because you can.
But this is another reason why you do what you know, because A, you have carrier relationships. B, you have client relationships. So, and C, when you go to a bank, they want to know that you've done this before. So,
that's the biggest thing.
When you go to your clients and you can say, "Hey, give me business," versus going into a business where you don't have any client relationships, or when you go to a carrier and you say, "Hey, you know me, I used to wear a different polo shirt, and now now I have this brand," and they trust you. There's an element of trust. And Jen, I think this is where you're going because I know your story too. So many people just gave you credit on the arm, as we say, and just on the strength of your reputation. Alan says it's the lifestyle that entrepreneurship offers. You're responsible for your own success. You get out of it what you put in. For me, I never worked harder. The highs, the lows, the sleepless nights, they're all part of the journey. But when you get that win, it's totally worth it. What is something they never told you about entrepreneurship, Tim?
Who's they?
I don't know.
Okay.
The royal they. Well, here's one thing for me, and then because or maybe a common misconception. People say, "Oh, Ben, you're your own boss now. You set your own hours." And I'm like, okay, I traded having one boss for having 5 bosses.
Right.
And now not only am I accountable to my 5 clients, I'm now accountable to all my employees. I'm accountable to my investors if I have any. I've always been and will be always accountable to my family. So you're accountable to the general public. If you're in a business that has Yelp reviews, Google reviews, whatever, you're more accountable than ever. So don't go into entrepreneurship if it's about no longer being accountable or no longer have to take crap from your boss. Don't do that, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I tell my kids this. They ask me, why do you seem to work more now than you did before?
You don't have to.
And I tell them I work when I have to, and I work when I want to. So, and for me, that means working more than I used to work, but I feel better about it, because I only work when I have to or when I want to. I don't, how many times, I don't know if a lot of people have had this, when, maybe some people that can watch the show every day at 4:00, maybe they're in the same way, where you were done doing your tasks, your work was done for the day, but yet you had to stay at your workplace because you were expected to be there whether there was work to be done or not.
Oh my gosh. And Elena, I'm going to get to this question, but oh my gosh, it's so true. Because I remember last week I'm in the Poconos with my family, right? I'm in the Poconos. I'm working from, we rented a house, Airbnb in the Poconos, which is right next door to her parents' house, whatever. I worked the whole time. People are like, oh, you're on vacation. No, I was working from home, different home, whatever. But the second thing is it's like, when you forget what you're going to say.
That stinks.
All right, we got a question. Elena says, were your creditors and funders able to provide you with coaching and or business growth resources? Tim?
I think they would have, but I'm kind of cynical.
Yeah, and he doesn't take criticism. Did you miss the question before? Unless they're lifelong friends, married, or younger siblings.
And I would think if they wanted to coach me on something, it was just because they wanted me to have a product that would help them make more money. So
I coach you how to buy some more stuff I'm selling.
Right. Yeah. So but that said, there are people outside of my creditors and funders that I go to for that kind of advice. People that have owned their own businesses already, people that are good friends. My CPA for sure. Yeah. My business attorney for sure.
Creditors, funders, I would say clients even. I mean, going back to Elena's question real quick, and we're going to Janet's. Elena, this is something that I talked to. Actually, I represent some Black-owned businesses and women-owned businesses, and by nature, they're also small businesses, and a lot of them don't qualify to do business with large clients such as RMCs or large corporate clients because maybe they don't have the IT security in place, maybe they don't have the longevity or the financial stability or the credit or the locations or the whatever disqualifiers in an RFP for some reason that just got grandfathered in there and left there because nobody saw a reason to take it out because nobody ever removes requirements. They only add requirements anyway. And I think that there's a real opportunity out there for clients who want to tap into the innovation of small business, like what Tim's talking about with alternative transportation. Perfect example. But if you have a requirement that says, have you been in business 3 years? Do you have a location in the US and a location in Europe? Do you have, there's so many onerous requirements that would prevent a business from doing business with Tim, but they would miss out on the innovation, the nimbleness, the hunger that he comes with, the service that he provides. The guy's on the phone, right before this call. Just on the phone constantly talking to customers. So I would say that as a customer, you want to hook that up real quick?
Yeah,
finish. As a customer, if you're a customer out there and you buy services and you have these requirements, please consider either removing them or if they're not necessary, or creating a ramp-up period which will allow you to incorporate small businesses and diverse businesses, minority, women, service disabled, veteran-owned small businesses, etc., into your supply chain. You're going to be a better company for it. You're going to be more innovative for it. You're going to win business because you're also going to be able to check the diversity box in a bigger way. All sorts of good things happen, but it really takes a company mentoring their supply chain who are young businesses and grooming them to meet these requirements. So maybe you give them 18 months to get up to the IT security requirement. Maybe you go in and say, listen, I'm going to give you $1 million of business, but I need you to spend $50,000 a year in IT security in order to get up there. And I'm going to give you 18 months to get there. Something like that.
Got like 2 minutes. Thanks, Larry.
Yeah. Larry's, I need to start seating in the section right now. Janet says, do you seek a business coach? Do you do anything for motivation every morning before you start your day?
The motivation for me is again, the people that work with me. I can't let them down. They risk a lot. I can't let them down.
Yeah, for sure. As far as business coaching goes, I think it's an interesting concept. What I would love to see is kind of like a group of entrepreneurs in our industry and global mobility or moving or what, Relo or whatever. And even if we do it through Love and Relo or whatever, like a group of entrepreneurs that can come together and say, hey, y'all are going through the same thing. What banks are you going to funding for? Who's worked with you? What clients are open to working with small businesses? What shared resources like IT or HR or accounting or CPAs have you used and been successful? Who do you use for credit card process? I mean, just little questions like this that could help. Can you send me a copy of an invoice? I got to send out invoices and I need like a template. I love to get into coaching and mentoring new entrepreneurs in this space. I know we've talked about that.
Yeah.
We help each other that way.
Yeah, and I think that's great because each of our businesses are going to be different, but yet there's going to be a lot of things that are a lot of hurdles that we'll all have to go over together.
All right, let's see here. Our connection's getting worse. Larry's about to kick us out. It's all good.
Let's try the light.
We're gonna try the light just to give you guys a taste, so to speak. Here, let's see. Mark Gray. Mark Gray says, Stacey, put that Mark Gray comment up there if you will. I think we're frozen. Whatever.
We're frozen?
Who knows?
All right. We might be frozen.
Yeah. Mark Gray says, you keep pounding those Jennies. Throw that Mark Gray quote up there again, if you don't mind. It says, you keep pounding those Jennies, you're going to keep forgetting what you're about to say.
Jenny Light.
Jenny Light. Jenny.
Water.
That's like my borderline favorite one. It's like a Bud Light. I mean, it looks like a Bud Light, quacks like a Bud Light. Let's see here. Robert, best part of being an entrepreneur is the opportunity to provide the highest level of expertise, consultation, and client experience. Sad that most employers are unable to allow freedom for an individual contributor to take the necessary risks to be creative in delivering optimal client experience. Time and again, employers create too many constraints or roadblocks and subsequently are not winning in the marketplace. Robert, you're so right. I was just talking to a corporate client yesterday, and they were telling me that the software that was being developed by their RMC really was terrible. And they never talked to me until it was done.
Yeah.
And that's why it sucks. And now I don't want to use it. And I said, well, one of my clients did an innovation thing where they brought all the clients to the table, even if they weren't users or were users, and involved them in the iteration process for like 6 weeks. So every time they develop a little bit, send it to them, say, what do you think? Develop a little bit, send it to them, what do you think? So by the end, they're like, yeah, this is amazing. This is exactly what we need. I'm like, that doesn't take money. That's just a principle. That's just a style of doing business. That's just being smart. It doesn't take money to be great in business. It takes mindset. It takes, the best practices and just the ways of doing business that unfortunately large companies and bureaucracies really struggle with. So great comment, Robert. Elena saying, great points. I hope you're heard by larger buyers and clients. Yeah, Elena, I'd love to get you involved in this too. We need to start creating a minority business, woman-owned business, and just kind of an entrepreneurship group where we can talk about these things for sure. Jill Rush says not frozen. Awesome, thank you. It's like a margarita, not frozen. Tim, you know what? We're getting the stink eye over here.
Yeah.
We probably better order some chicken wings, and they're going to kick us out.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts you want to leave everybody with?
I had a fantastic final thought, and it escaped me. I got to be honest with you. I
those Jennies, dude.
No, but I think that even being successful in the start, what me and my partners talk about every day is, okay, once this peak season ends, whenever it ends, we've got to start preparing to be better. Because as successful as we were and as good as we were, we've got to get better. And it's the only way we're going to grow. We've got to branch out, go into new niches or niches, depending on how you speak. And I'm happy. I'm certainly want to thank you for giving me the time to talk a little bit about Rhode Sense and something I'm proud of. And I get uncomfortable speaking about things that I'm proud of a lot. Yeah,
I mean, it's vulnerable, and that's the other thing with being an entrepreneur. Like, it's vulnerable. And so many people don't want to go into the business that they're in, like the vertical they're in, because they don't want to fail around their friends. They'd rather go get a custard shop, like in nowhere, you know what I'm saying? So if it goes south, nobody knows about it. But I appreciate you being vulnerable, and I appreciate you taking the leap. It's awesome to be on this journey with you as you having the success. I'm so proud for you. I mean, I didn't have anything to do with it, but I'm proud for you because, we're just so happy, man, for you as a friend, as a fellow entrepreneur. Mark Topoleski, congrats on what you're building, Tim. Mark also says, as an entrepreneur myself, I'm always on the lookout for the opportunity to work with entrepreneur-led vendors because I find they really hustle and understand the importance of bend over backwards customer service. Thank you, Mark. Hey, shout out to Mark Topoleski. Shout out to Ellis Porter Immigration Law Firm, the newest Glomo client up in Detroit. Mark, I love you. Shaju, I love you for watching this. I'm going to be up there in Detroit interviewing Mark on Friday. We're going to be telling the Ellis Porter story. A phenomenal firm. Talk about bend over backwards. I mean, talk about customer centric. Just amazing, amazing people out there. Great culture. Alan King, great show. Hey, cheers, Tim. Love you, man. Congrats, bro.
Thank you.
All right, everybody. Thanks so much. Jamie, love y'all. Thanks, everybody, for coming out. Tomorrow, we will be in Pittsburgh, Ayers headquarters, interviewing Jolene Lawfer, Executive Vice President of Ayers. Super sharp. She's going to have a lot of thoughts on technology, customer experience, how to blend the two together. Can't wait to interview her and see the office. Maybe we even get a tour of 6 Pen HQ out there. Thanks, everybody. This is another episode of Love and Relo on the road. We're doing a tour here. 5 days, 5 lives, 5 cities. Pray for me. Take care, everybody.